This here is a remarkable,
Welcome to the Wedding of Distinction podcast, a program for the unique bride and groom. The Wedding of Distinction is a concept where brides and grooms want something better. Not just your average wedding. We have the tools to make that happen. Now, here's your host, Mike Fernino.
Yes, that's me. I'm Mike. Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for the listen. Here at the Wedding of Distinction, we have created a podcast specifically for couples who are getting married. The interviews and the information is directly geared toward wedding planning and how you can make things so much easier for yourselves. We have wonderful professional guests on this program who not only talk about what they do, but provide information that's extremely valuable to our couples on what to do when it comes to the wedding planning process. In January 2025, I received the opportunity to record our live podcasts at the Woodwinds Bridal Show. Now, the Woodwinds is located in Branford, Connecticut, and it is one of the elite wedding venues in the Connecticut market. And the show was put on by Charlene Sharo of WeddingStylesOfCT.com. We had a nice little table all set up in the lobby, and I was able to secure many great interviews from various guests. And on the program today, my guest is Mr. Dariusz Terepka, who happens to be a professional photographer extraordinaire. As a wedding DJ myself going back many years, I can tell you what photography was like as compared to how it is now, and how technology has definitely made the business much easier for novice providers to jump on in. But I will also tell you, there is no substitute for talent, experience, and a keen eye to grab that once-in-a-moment image. Dariusz provides great perspective, including some technical aspects of what makes a master photographer. I hope you enjoy, so sit back and relax, and let's listen to this episode of the Wedding of Distinction podcast. Well, hi there, everybody. Mike at the Wedding of Distinction podcast. We are at the Woodwinds, which is in Branford, Connecticut. Today, it's whenever you're listening to this, but I can tell you today is a nice, warm, 45-degree day in January. What a great, it's sun shining, great day for a bridal show. And their bridal show today, it's bringing in all kinds of professional wedding vendors. And I've grabbed one of those professional wedding vendors today to interview. And I have Dariusz Terepka of photography with us. This is Dariusz, and of course, he's a photographer.
Hi, everybody.
AKA the name.
Yeah.
Dariusz, what made you get into this crazy business of photography, and specifically weddings?
So when I was young, very early in the age, 15, 14, I started looking at shadows and light. Loved it. Took a college course at 15 with photography and fell in love with it. Started out in black and white photography, developing film, everything else, and the rest is history.
Mm-hmm. Now this is good because you've been doing it all the way back to film.
Yes.
So let's talk about that, because being a wedding DJ myself, I've been doing this for 40 years. Back in the 80s when I got started, a lot of the photographers, they were in tuxedos.
Yes.
They were coming out with huge cameras, big lenses, and of course, they're working with film.
Yeah.
So they have to take all of their images, they have to send it to a lab. The way I looked at it is they had to know what they were shooting because they didn't have that little liquid crystal display on the back.
Yes. Back then it was very different because you had a limited amount of rolls of film.
Right.
Every roll had a limited amount of pictures that you can take. And now if you wasted half a roll on checking your lighting, then you had issues. So there was a light meter in your hand. There was also a flash. And the biggest you can do is 800 or 1600 ISO, which is what the film can pick up in light. Being in dark places, it was sometimes very difficult to gauge it, but with the light meter, you were able to do whatever you can for the weddings.
As comparing to
now,
it does it all for you, right?
It's very simple. It does it all for you. There is a caveat: you can't just go automatic because not everything will come out the way a professional does it.
Right. One of the things that I see, there's a lot of amateur photographers that are in the business, just like amateur DJs. It is what it is.
Many photographers put their finger down on the button and ding, 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 ding. And they just figure if I take 1,000 photos, I'll probably get 100 good ones.
Agreed. Well, that's the big problem with the phones. Nowadays, every single person is a photographer at one point in the day,
right?
Taking a photo with your phone. And the big question is now, we all can sing. Are we all Mariah Carey or are we all Whitney Houston? We are not. So being a photographer, there's a distinction in knowing what the camera can do, what you can do manipulating the different settings in making that image stand out. And also the composition of the image makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. Another point, a professional photographer is sort of the director of the photo shoot. And someone with a lot of experience is going to know all the different angles and all the different setups, bride and groom, looking at each other, a wedding party. Talk a little bit about how you direct your couples and their wedding party and their families in the photo sessions.
I love that question because very often people say, well, I'll pose you, or a photographer would say, I'll pose you and then I'll ask you to smile, we'll make a picture. The way I work is very different. What I do is I ask people to hang out in certain areas of the image that I want to take, and I'll direct them, but then it's not about me asking for a smile, I'll invoke the emotion to make that smile come in, even if it's where I have to look really funny and I have to say something funny about me, everybody cracks up laughing and it just makes it so natural. Instead of me posing everybody and say, well, you stand here and stay stiff, I want you to be as relaxed as you can be, because when you're relaxed, it shows on every muscle on your face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the organic nature of capturing the moment when it's genuine and not staged, right?
Absolutely. I mean, there are certain ways where you could relax a person by just telling them, just do me a favor, fall into your hips. Once you fall into your hips with all the weight being very relaxed and not being stiff, your face relaxes and the smile comes in naturally.
Now, being that you went to school and obviously extensive training, talk a little bit about a bright summer day wedding versus sunsets. Timing is very important, obviously.
So I am a certified photographer from PPA, which is Professional Photographers of America. Being certified, I trained to be able to capture the images in the perfect lighting scenarios and also the imperfect ones. Being in a perfectly lit, beautiful 12 o'clock in the afternoon sun, it is a harder way of shooting, but as a professional, you know exactly how to put a person where the sun should be. If it's above you, then you're obviously going to go look for a shade. But that's being a professional, you know the difference. And a sunset, a lot of times I hear photographers say, I'm a natural light shooter. Natural light is beautiful. But if you don't understand how to use a flash, you really can't be a professional. Mm-hmm. Because being a professional, a flash doesn't mean that a light just hits a person and the person is just lit. It needs to really be very even on the person with what's behind them. In other words, if the light is really bright, your light has to be bright and your settings have to make it all cohesive.
And not just that. I mean, when people think of a beautiful sunny day in the fall or in the spring or even in the summer especially, light does wash colors out, right?
A lot. So what happens very often is if you are just a light, a natural light photographer, and myself, I've shot light just on the beach, but I always bring my flash, and the reason for that is my flash makes it crisper, and if my settings are correct, I will make sure that the sky is not white, that the sand is not almost white, the water is not almost white, but everything has its own color, and that's what makes the image much more appreciated when you look at it.
Do you have a particular style?
So style is funny. With me, I love to shoot with a little bit of vibrance in the color. But every single wedding that I do, every single shoot that I do, it all depends on the personality of the person. If a couple comes in and says, I have everything, the tablecloths are gray, and I'm going to have the napkins are going to be red, and, weird colors, these people love vibrancy, and that's the kind of shooting I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. As a photographer that says, I am just a natural light, and I'm gonna make it light, and I'm gonna make it very light. I'm gonna make it very light and airy. Well, that's washing out colors and making it all as a preset. I never use the preset on any of my photography. Every single image is edited by me in my own home studio, and I also have tools like Lightroom, Photoshop, and others to make sure that every image is sharp and on point with color.
Talk a little bit, you brought up Photoshop, and I know that Photoshop has been a lifeline for some photographers. How important is Photoshop, and to what degree are you able to utilize it?
So 90% of photography that I do, I utilize Lightroom. And that's because when I shoot, I don't need to remove too many things because I like to shoot in camera to make it look as good as possible. But there is a 10% of portraiture that you must adjust this or adjust that, where a Lightroom won't do its justice. A photo touched up correctly has to be done through Photoshop. Lightroom is a way of lightening up a photo, maybe isolating the person a little bit and making them look a little bit sharper or non-sharper or softer. But a Photoshop, you can put in different backdrops. You can do so much other and much more oomph on an image. You can do so much more on it that it will not only look, it has to look professional, obviously, because when you're a professional, you do it that way. But it also will make it look seamless. It will not show the artifacts of putting in something artificial in the image.
Yeah, have you ever had a bride ask you to wipe out her mother-in-law in the photos?
I've had so many different requests, but there have been those. I think the biggest request was when somebody had me put in a dog in their image from their photos from home. Normally I don't do it, but the bride was really, she really loved her pet, and she's asked me if I can put it in the family portraiture because the venue they were at, they weren't allowed the dog in. So obviously, as a courtesy, that's okay to do,
Yep. If the venue didn't allow the dog, I wouldn't have the wedding at the venue. My God. So
Yes.
what does a typical day of coverage look like for you? And do you have options, or is it just complete coverage?
Yeah, so I always tell the bride and groom is if you're looking for a full day, it should be a full day. And I don't like cutting my time with the bride and groom for the getting ready images. When somebody books me, they can choose packages. Obviously, I have packages. I have the elopement 2-hour package. I go in, I shoot it for 2 hours, and I'm gone. There is the other package where it's 5 hours or 6 hours work, and that's really just the reception. But there is the full day, and it's 8 hour or a full day, meaning a 14, 16-hour day. It all depends. The way I see it is that if you are looking for a photographer, you should be thinking of this is the most important vendor at your wedding. And no disrespect to DJs, no disrespect to photo booths people, no disrespect to caterers. At the end of the day, after 10 years, the only thing you're gonna have is the images in your head from your album. You won't have images from your phone necessarily, but the best images you're gonna see are the ones that the photographer gonna take. And if your photographer is a mediocre, a start-out kind of a person, and that's all you can afford, great, do that. But if you invest into that, you will definitely always love your wedding. Always. It'll be always the good images that will be there.
I will concur with what you just said, because I actually have images that are completely in my mind. I haven't actually opened my wedding album in years, and yet I still have those images in my mind because I've looked at them so many times.
Right. That's the idea. The idea is that if the image is done right and your eyes go to, like a professional photo is taken, to exactly where it should go, then therefore that image is the best image you can get. If you have a person that is starting out, they won't know that, that little cup that's sitting on a table will distract your eye and go to the cup before it goes to the eyes of the person you're trying to photograph.
Now, how's the delivery process? I know today, remember back in the day, a proof album was made.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes,
You had to
it
put
was-
all, so not only did you have to print the prints, but you had to
the
print.
contact sheets.
Right.
It was contact sheets on the album, and it would be 15, 20 contact sheets of just little strips of, and the bride or groom would come on and with a big red marker would say, oh, this is the one that I want, this is the one I want. And we would go back and print those for the couple, and then we put them in the albums. Well, nowadays it's a very big difference.
Yeah.
Nowadays, after I edit, after 72 hours, I usually try to throw in 25 images for the first look of what happened during the wedding. And these are not images that I necessarily pick just like very, I just go through all of the images and I'll pick up the different timings of the day. So 25, 2 to 3 images in getting ready, 2 to 3 images in other ways. And after that, it takes 6 to 8 weeks, usually, for me to edit them. And in total, within 10 weeks within my company, I will make sure that the bride and groom 10 weeks has the images back. It is delivered through online gallery. I don't like nickel and diming anybody, and I don't ever sell images afterwards. It is always, the bride and groom always buy the rights to the images. They can print right out of my website, out of the gallery. They can also share the gallery. They'll have a personal pin, so they have their own personal ways of making sure that they keep there. They can download them to their hard drive, which I always encourage right away downloading them, because God forbid something happens. I'll have a backup. I have 2 or 3 backups, but then it takes a long time for me to go back and picking them all out of my backup.
Right.
So always download them to your hard drive, have a spare hard drive, and just put those on there.
Now, what Darius is talking about here is very important. I want to hit on it real quickly because I know that there are photographers that it could be a little misleading. They give a rate. The bride and groom pay that rate, and it turns out that rate is just for the photographer's service. Then they go into an online gallery, and they have to buy every single print. And this is something they didn't expect.
Yes. So you got to be very careful and always read your contract. The idea of a photographer coming in, and I know I'm very valuable, so therefore I'm going to go in and do the best I can. But very often I've heard of a different way of pricing it. Oh, you will have 300 images in your gallery. That's the images you're going to get. And everything after that you have to purchase. The biggest problem with it is that the images that you are purchasing or getting, the 300, are not the best images necessarily. They are semi-best. You'll see a gallery of 600, 700 images, and the other 300, 400 images that are left out, those are the images you want to actually buy. And that's the problem. I don't like doing that. What I edit is every single image is touched up by me. I make sure every image is perfect, and then the whole gallery is yours. I don't like this back and forth, oh, you still have to pay me another this much or this much. Listen, you paid for a service. It has to be 100%.
Right.
I don't believe in you coming home 6 weeks after the wedding and you've worked your butt off to pay off this wedding, then you got to pay another $3,000 or $4,000 just because the photographer forgot to tell you that you have to buy more images.
Right. Or they put their watermark through everything, and you have to pay them to remove the watermark.
Right, so that's the other thing. I do have my watermark on every single gallery, but that's why I give you a PIN number. When you download them, the watermark never comes in them. So the idea is that if somebody goes on my website and goes into my galleries and they'll look at the gallery, they cannot just screenshot the image, not saying the clients themselves, because they'll get the images. But the idea is there has been so many different beginner photographers that have been stealing images off web of photographers like me, screenshotting them, putting them on a website, making their own website with my images.
Yeah.
And that's just a no-no. That's why that big logo of mine, bestinct.com or www.bestinct, that's my website. That is what's on it. And that's protecting me. Anybody needs images that, for their own thing, and even your mom would call me up and say, hey, listen, I would like to get some images for my daughter's wedding. I refer her to you because you signed a contract with me.
Right. And it is true how unscrupulous
Yes.
people can be, especially in the internet age. I had a DJ in Australia that had taken some of my images from my website and were using them at their bridal show in Australia.
In Australia, yeah, that's what happens very often because they don't have the ability to do the grand photography that we do as professionals, as we've been done it for so many years. Or like you're DJ, you've been in beautiful places, you've had great pictures taken of you DJing in the beautiful backdrops, and then all of a sudden that image is in somebody else's website. Not only that person is a fake person, but also that's theft of my images. Every single image I take is my image.
Right.
Whether I'm going to extend the rights to those images for the bride and groom or for anybody else, that is completely my right.
And there's laws that protect you.
Of course there's laws. And there's, not enough photographers go after people for such things, but it's very important to remember that if you have a professional and they have all their images in their website and in their photo books that they're showing you, in everything you see in their Instagram, and it's their own photos, then you know the kind of styles the photographer can do the job.
And I'd also point out, just as I'm having a conversation right now with Darius, there are a lot of brides and grooms that they don't want to interact or pick up a phone and talk. They just want to see your images. Yeah. Talking with the photographer, just like with the DJ, I think is essential because you're with them all day.
Exactly.
Chemistry is important, right?
Very much. I've had clients would say, listen, all I need is a photographer to come in and do my wedding. I really don't need to meet you. I'm a doctor. I don't have the time for this. And I simply say, well, if you don't have the time to meet me, I don't have the time to do your wedding. Mm-hmm. I can't do that. If I don't meet you, our chemistry can be amazing, but it also could be where we are going to look at each other sideways. Yeah. Guess what? My job is to make sure you look good. Mm-hmm. And if you're not happy with me, you will never look good in images. We both have to be happy about each other. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have the time, postpone the wedding. Do it in a year or two when you do have some time to do it right. Because if you do halfway of this kind of work, then it's going to be halfway of a wedding.
It's going to look that way, too.
It's going to look exactly that way, yes.
All right, so what is your coverage area? Where do you go and where do you operate?
I'm an international photographer, so I fly all over. If it's 500 miles or 100 miles or even 10 miles, which I've done weddings there, I am all over. Being all over the world for many years doing photography for weddings, it's easy for me to move around. Everything is in black boxes. They're all waterproof. My equipment doesn't ever get destroyed. Mm-hmm. But I'm also pretty organized with the amount of equipment I come in. I don't come in with thousands of different things. I'll come in with flash on my head, and I also have flashes on the dance floor. So this way the images are vibrant. There is a lot of tricks in my camera I can do. But I try to tell everybody is that most times my travel fees are only for over 100 miles from where I live. My home is in Fairfield, Connecticut. Mm-hmm. So being in Fairfield, I am very easy to go to New York City. I'm very easy to go to New Jersey, Pennsylvania as well. But most of Connecticut, all of Connecticut, I can cover without a problem.
Right. So for my listeners in Hawaii, Darius is very happy to accommodate you.
Yes, very much.
I know you give the website again, all of your information, so they can find you on the
So
internet.
my website is Dariusz Terepka Photography, which is a very long one, but I made it easy. If you go into www.bestinct.com, which is bestinconnecticut.com. Mm-hmm. Therefore, you'll go straight into my website. My Instagram handle is Dariusz Terepka Photography, also hard to remember. But if you go into 197 Elm Studio, you'll see other links to my Instagrams, to my other Instagrams. Mainly because of Dariusz Terepka being such a long name, and most people don't remember to spell it correctly with the Z at the end, SZ to be exact. I had to make other arrangements to my work.
And we'll put in the show notes right on the podcast how to reach you and everything. So
yes. Also, my email is Darius@bestinct.com.
DARIUSZ.
Yes, exactly. TEREPKA.
There you go. How dare your parents put that Z in there? Fascinating interview. I loved every minute of it. Darius, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I wish you a lot of luck here at the... you don't need luck. You're good at what you do. Enjoy the show.
You always need luck.
We hope you are enjoying the podcast. Your Wedding of Distinction host, Mike Fernino, is a 30-year veteran of the wedding industry as a professional DJ and master of ceremonies. As the founder of Music in Motion Entertainment, Mike has worked with thousands of couples over the years, creating dynamic and exceptional events that stand out in the eyes and ears of the wedding guests. Music in Motion is a full-time professional wedding service based in Connecticut and serving the surrounding states, also offering photography, custom lighting design, videography, photo booth, and live classical and jazz musicians. Call 203-627-9600 and ask for their wedding e-brochure or visit their website at musicinmotionentertainment.com.
This here is a remarkable,
The Wedding of Distinction podcast is a production of Music in Motion Entertainment. All rights reserved. Any unauthorized publication of this program is strictly prohibited. For the Wedding of Distinction podcast, I'm Mike Vincent. Happy wedding planning, everybody.